All right, everyone. Hail and welcome to this week's episode of Midgard Musings. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule, your busy life, to watch and then tune in and offer your insight and leave your insightful comments down in the comment section below. My name is Jesse, and if this is your first time tuning into this channel, I welcome you and I thank you for your support in tuning in and watching today. If you haven't already and you're interested in Norse heathenry and any kind of Norse heathenry related subjects, I would definitely appreciate if you were to just take a moment and click that little subscribe button that you see down at the bottom of this video. It doesn't cost you anything, but it benefits and helps what I'm doing on this channel. So thank you so much for that support in that way, watching these videos, subscribing, sharing them around, commenting, liking, all that fun stuff. If you're so inclined, definitely do that. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down, because you know what? I don't have a thin skin, and I'm willing to take a constructive criticism when and as it comes. But anyways, guys, you will see down in the comment section below some ways that you can support Midgard Musings, whether it be on this YouTube channel or the Facebook page or Instagram. And then we're also running a very cool special right now because we're approaching the Yule season. So if you want to get some interesting, fun Midgard Musings merchandise, you can do so now at basically cost level. All right, so if you were to go down into the comment section, you'll see a link to the Teespring page, a specific campaign that I'm running right now that basically allows you to purchase Midgard Musings t-shirts and hoodies and apparel for men, women, children, and even toddlers at drastically reduced prices. So I hope that you take advantage of this. It's basically running until December 15th. Everything goes back to normal pricing. That campaign ends on that day. But I wanted to offer this as something for you and your loved ones to take advantage of during the Yule season. So that way you can get things that you may be so inclined to get that helps support this channel, but that also helps get the word out and shows your support for Midgard Musings. So check the comments, or excuse me, the description below for that. So if you're looking up at the title, you're watching this episode today, you're going to see that we're going to be talking about why it is so important for us as heathens to be active. All right, and I put that in air quotes because what does that necessarily mean? What does that mean to us as modern heathens now in this day and age? We're going to talk about that now in this episode. So before we get started, as is customary on this channel, we're going to light some incense, light a candle, and then just get right down into this whole thing. So thank you everyone so much for watching. Like I said, if you are a first-time viewer or a first-time supporter of this channel, go ahead and take a moment to share the video, comment what you think of this video down below, or any of the other videos that I have uploaded thus far on this channel. All of the input and all of the insight that you're able to provide is greatly appreciated. Alright, so now that we've got the incense going and the candle burning, let's talk a little bit about this subject that seems a bit obscure in this description. Why is it important for us to be an active heathen? And what does that necessarily mean, right? Layman's terms. So, what I want to kind of cover, first of all, actually, you know what? Let me talk about one thing real quick before we actually get started in this discussion. I want to make a shout out real quick. A couple weeks ago, somebody donated some funds to the channel that doesn't necessarily provide them with any sort of product or goods or anything like that. And that person's name is Aaron Prisk. So Aaron, if you are watching this video today, thank you for your donation to the channel a couple weeks ago. I appreciate that. I meant to say that last week in last week's video, and I neglected to, and I'm sorry for that. But I do want to make a point to thank Aaron Prisk for his donation to this channel. And if you are so inclined and you want to donate, just check the description of the video below for the PayPal link if you're so inclined. Another shout out I want to do. If you guys are noticing, I'm wearing this t-shirt today. It says Heathen. It's got a really cool Thor's hammer on it. This is some apparel that comes from Grimfrost. A lot of us are familiar with this company because of the associations that this company has with Amon Amarth, and they're a heathen company based out of Sweden. And so for you guys watching on YouTube or Facebook, I got a Facebook Live thing going on down here. Well, I'm knocking off this little rack right here. Anyways, it says Heathen. It's got a Thor's hammer on it. It's really cool. My wife's parents got this for me for my birthday a couple weeks ago. So shout out to Vanessa's parents. My wife, Vanessa, her parents got this for me. And shout out to the wonderful people at Grimfrost for producing such awesome apparel. So anyways, now that we've got all that formality out of the way, we're going to talk a bit about what it means to be active as a heathen in modern times. All right, so before we get into what it does mean, or what I take it as what it does mean, I do want to kind of touch upon the things that I think it does not mean. All right? What I don't think it means in its entirety. This next part can sort of encompass what it means to me as being an active heathen, but in terms of the actual heart of heathenry, all right, what it does not mean is that we are in the 21st century. Everything with everybody kind of surrounds a social media presence, right? So what I don't think that to be an active heathen means is that it doesn't mean that you are to just join your Facebook groups, like your Facebook pages, subscribe to these Facebook or these YouTube channels, follow these Twitter feeds, this and that, comment hail, comment skull, all these various things that have a, the value of these types of things means something in the social media platform. But when it comes to actually being a heathen and what heathenry means, those things don't carry any weight in the long run, okay? Like I said, I myself am obviously on a social media platform. All of the likes, comments, subscribes, things like that means something to me and to the greater good of what I'm trying to do, right? But in terms of being an individual in the heathen community, a lot of people, I think, especially if you're a new heathen, if you're coming up into this path and if you've reached a certain point that you've I feel this pull, I feel this draw, and you're in all these groups, you're on all these pages, you see all this content in social media. All right, being a heathen and being an active heathen doesn't mean that you're just going to share, comment, like all this kind of stuff. That's just the clicky type stuff that is seen in this environment. Okay. That being said, what am I talking about when I'm saying things about being an active heathen? Being active as a heathen, and why is that so important? Okay, we have to look at this path, and we have to look at heathenry from the aspect of it being a ancient, very old approach to a lifestyle. Okay. It's not necessarily something that our ancestors labeled as a religion. It was something that was lived. It was something that was adopted as the way of life for the community, right? And the reason why being an active heathen is so important is because we get out of this whole thing, out of this whole experience, we get out of it what we put into it. And we're going to go into a little bit of details about that here in just a second. So what I mean by that in terms of getting out of it what we put into it, the way I see heathenry, okay, and this is again kind of a personal approach, doesn't necessarily mean that you may agree or you may see things the same way as I do, and that's fine. If you don't, be that as it may. But my personal approach to heathenry is that heathenry, okay, is kind of like just a great big tree. And the tree has roots. And the tree grows from the nourishment that the roots and everything that comes from the roots provide. So look at it as like an oak tree, for instance. All right, the oak tree grows, it branches out, it drops acorns, and those acorns fall on the ground, and they themselves establish a root. They themselves become part of the greater aspect of its, the life from which it came. We are sort of the product now as modern heathens, and as we, our ancestors and our descendants and everything, we are the products of the original roots of that tree. We are trying to continue on the life force of the tree from which we came. So if we're venturing off too far, one way or the other, into things that don't necessarily meet the overall approach or the overall growth of this original tree, we're going to fail. We're going to die. We're going to diminish. Right? We're not going to have strong enough roots to continue on that part. Our part as the acorn, our part as the seed that has fallen off of the main tree, is to continue on the legacy, or continue on the strength from which we were drawn. So what we put into this path, what we gain from the things that came before us, what we take from the things that came before us, and what we use to grow as individuals, directly impacts ourselves and impacts the descendants that come on after us. So we have to look at heathenry as it's very, let's look at it this way. One of the things that people will tell new heathens or the newbies, right? The people that are coming into this path and they're saying, I'm drawn to this path, I'm interested in growing. What do I do? Where do I go? What is one of the things that a lot of these people are told? Something that I was told, some of the things that maybe you were told. Heathenry is a religion of homework. Okay? Now that's kind of a broad term. It's kind of a generalized approach to this thing. It's a path or an approach that involves homework and involves study, and that is true. But where do we go from that, right? Because we can take books, we can read the Eddas, we can look at the lore, we can read the sagas, we can do all this study, and we can gain all this book knowledge, right? And then where does it go from there? Where do we become an active heathen? What does that even mean? We gain all this knowledge, now what do we do with it? Now, in my approach, and what I understand as being a good approach to heathenry, is that once you've gained this knowledge, once you've picked up these things, once you've kind of understood the culture behind this path, is that you live it. Being heathen, being a pagan, it's not so much about a religion, because religion to me is something that's, just sort of like an organized attempt to convert and to bring people that have a common sort of view of the world at the time, and to bring them all into this together. It's a larger based, organization to try and structure people around this idea of the thing. Whereas heathenry, or being a pagan, or being heathen at its core, is tribal based. It's something that is based strongly in tradition, surrounding a culture, surrounding a specific sort of set of people. So if you're drawn to a path, if you're drawn to something, there's going to be some traditions, there's going to be some things that are tied, whether it be ancestral or cultural, there's going to be things that are tied to that specific path that you will then pick up and follow. It's like the relationship that we have with our gods and with our ancestors. My view of heathenry is starts with, you have to honor and venerate your ancestors and the land wights and the land vitir, the spirits of the land with which you share your existence, because these are the spirits, these are the forces that are directly tied to you, your ancestors, and the land vitir, the land spirits, the land wights, whatever you want to call them. These are the essences. These are the beings that are directly tied to you as an individual. Honor them. Honor the gods. Live in a way that would give them reason to notice you, because the gods have great things that they have going on. They have things of their own interest that they have to focus on. So you as an individual are nothing special unless you make your actions such, right? So first and foremost, it's, honoring your ancestors and honoring the land vitir, or the spirits of the land that you share your existence with. Next would be to honor the gods and give them a reason to notice you. Why should you be different than anybody else that says hail Thor, hail Odin, all this other stuff, right? And then from there, you do things to better your community, better your tribe. Now, some people are going to be watching this and saying, well, I have no tribe, I have no community, I'm solitary, I'm an individual so secluded from a like-minded heathen community that I don't have anyone else to necessarily connect with in a tribal sense. And I get that. I'm in Middle Tennessee, and I myself am trying to establish that sense of tribe and that sense of a kindred, and being able to kind of draw in and be part of a community that's, like-minded, about things. But it's difficult, especially if you're in a secluded area where you yourself are sort of, with kind of drawn inward. There's nobody else around you that can relate in a way. So where do you fit into that whole thing of being an active heathen, being active with your community, being active? You can be active with your ancestors. You can be active with the land vitir, the spirits of the land that inhabit the realm in which you live. Be active with the gods. And when I say be active with the gods, one of the things that I'm talking about is this. My relationship, and this may be different with everybody that's watching. Your relationship with the gods is going to be different than what mine is. My relationship with the gods is that of a heartfelt friend. All right? If you are a friend with someone, let's just kind of break it down to some basic things that we can all sort of relate to. If you are friends with someone and you don't speak with this friend on a regular basis, and you don't have any interactions with this friend on a regular basis, if you just talk to this friend every so often, just to send a text, just to say hi, and it's very, your connection with this friend is sort of, there's a disconnect there. What do you think your relationship with that friend, what kind of benefit do you think that you're going to gain from that relationship is? It's not going to be a whole lot, because you're not communicating with them on a regular basis. If you're sort of withdrawn, or if you're in an area that's doesn't allow you or if you don't have a kindred or a tribe or anything that you can connect with, if you're not communicating regularly with the gods, and if you're not communicating regularly with the ancestors and with the land vitir and the spirits of the land that share your existence, do you really think that the benefit that you get from following this path is going to be great if you're not communicating with them? I have friends who I communicate with very regularly and on a very regular basis, and that relationship is beneficial to us. So it remains to me that the relationship that we have with our gods, and the relationship that we have with the land spirits and everything around us, if we're not communicating with them, if we're not speaking to them, if we're not having direct connection with them on a regular basis, we're not going to gain anything from them. We're not going to get that mutual giving of exchange of gifts, the thing that is so important in this path. So what I say when I mean what I mean when I say is being an active heathen is that live in a way that honors your ancestors and respects and honors the spirits of the land with which you share your existence. Live in ways and communicate with your gods and the goddesses that you are drawn to. Speak with them. Make offerings to them. It doesn't have to be anything formal. It doesn't have to be a very grandeur, I'm going to take out a whole chunk of hours of a day or whatever and set up this great thing. Be sincere. If it's sincere and if it's from your heart, the gods will notice this because they understand and they know the sincerity behind your actions. And then, if you're able to and if you can, join a community, because heathenry is something that is community-based. It's community-based. If you can't find anything around it, maybe you're drawn to start something in your area. Be the spark for the fire to run with and for the fire to ignite with. You know? So when I say, you know, why is it important for us to be active as heathens? It's because we're not going to get much from our deities and from our ancestors and from our community if we're not active. It's important for us to give for the community and give to the community for the community to give to us, and give to the gods for the gods to give to us, and give to our ancestors and the land whites and the land Vitir and all of these things that are so important in our path. It's important to give in order to receive, because there's that mutual gavo, there's that mutual exchange, you know. So anyways, guys, this is my take on why it's important to be active as a heathen and why it's important for us to take a proactive approach. Not to be cavalier, not to be, you know, lethargic or lazy when it comes to this approach. If you are drawn to this path, yes, it involves homework. Yes, it involves learning. But then after that, it involves actual deeds. We are our deeds. It takes an approach that we would want to be known by our actions once we are gone off of this plane, and once we are no longer here to physically look at and listen to and speak to. We would want our names to be known by our descendants. So this is my approach to what it means to be active as a heathen, and I'm anxious to hear what your approach is to this and what being an active heathen means to you. So definitely drop your comments down in the comment section below. Be sure to follow all the links in the description of how you can support Midgard Musings and support in any way that you can, whether it's liking the page, following the channel, subscribing, all that fun stuff. It definitely helps. And become active as a heathen in your approach. All right, so now next week is going to be the Sunday after Thanksgiving. I will be out of town, and I will not be doing a live broadcast on Facebook during that time. However, there should be content that's uploaded to the YouTube channel for everyone to see next Sunday. So definitely make sure that you're subscribed and that you have notifications enabled. There's a little bell notification next to there. As a matter of fact, if you follow this floating Midgard Musings logo that you see right up here and you click on that, the bell notification will appear. You'll be able to enable that bell notification. So that way you're never, you'll be notified when videos get uploaded. So everyone that's down here watching on Facebook, stick around so that way I can check out the comments and everything that's coming through. Thank you all so much for watching here on Facebook. I will see you next video. Hail and thank you.